Hey guys, it's Adam. I hope you're doing fantastic. Welcome to Do You Watch Anime, a show where I sit down with a guest every week and ask them, Do you watch anime? And we go from there. And today, joining me is voice actor in such anime as Chainsaw Man, The Reze Arc, Sentenced to Be a Hero, Lord of Mysteries, and Isekai Office Worker. The Other World's books depend on the bean counter. There we go. Daniel Van Thomas, how are you today?
Hey, thank you for having me. I think I can only call myself an anime voice actor now officially that I've been on your show. It's like
Oh my
it's an
god.
initiation ritual. I wasn't before, but now that I've been interviewed on this show, I will officially be an anime actor.
Yeah. Oh my god. So, do you watch anime?
Never heard of it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is
Thank
that
you so much.
yeah? Didn't they? Is that what they call that? Like Japanimation? Is that
Yeah,
what that is?
yeah.
No, I'm very self-conscious about my anime watching this season
Mhm.
because I feel barely this season because I feel like I've gotten in this trap of only being able to watch what I'm working on. So I've been a bad anime watcher this season, but not like it's known as one of the best anime seasons of all time or anything that. So
No.
surely I'm not missing anything.
No, it's pretty
But
mid.
yes, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's why I'm there.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, we need mid people. But no, I'm a lifelong dork. So yes, I do watch anime. Not as much as some of my contemporaries who I don't know how they are able to work in the industry and watch as much anime as they watch. But I've been watching anime since it was around in the U.S. almost when it was
Okay.
like many of us.
Yeah. So, what was your introduction to anime?
Ooh, I'm sure you get this answer all the time, but growing up in the U.S., it was Toonami, and particularly the first show that I was super into. Again, probably an answer you get all the time. My friends and I were so into Gundam Wing.
Okay, that's actually one of the first.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I was. I don't want you to get too impressed by how cool I am, but we were so into this show that I guess it was probably middle school. That there was a big debate in my friend group. We were doing an online forum-based text role-playing game, and somebody was playing as Sandrock, and Katra was my boy. And I was like, "Who is he? We don't know him. Get him out of here. He's inactive. He's squatting. He's squatting on Sandrock."
Oh my god!
And I was really upset that I didn't get to be Sandrock, but eventually I got there, and here I am today.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't grow up with Wing. It wasn't until a few years ago, because my roommate slash partner's sister is huge into Gundam Wing. It's her favorite series. And she's like, please take the Blu-ray, watch the whole thing. And I'm like, oh, this is insanity.
Yeah. I've been really wanting to return to it and just see how it holds up, because I remember it being, I'm sure that, like most things Gundam, I'm sure that at the time, I'm sure the politics of that show just completely for a 10-year-old or whatever I was.
100%.
But nowadays, like a lot of media from the 60s through the early 2000s, we'd probably look at it as being like, oh wow, they predicted everything again, and we learned that's cool. Here we are.
Yep. Yeah. When I started, I went, oh, this is just about child soldiers, and she's like, yep, welcome to Gundam.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my god. So, what was kind of the shift to going, oh, this is cartoons, to, oh, this is anime?
I think maybe at the time, I mean, stylistically, we knew because we were starting to see things like, I thought I was hot shit because I had an Akira shirt from Spencer's Gifts, when that was underground.
Yep.
So the aesthetic was bleeding in. I think the first show that I watched that made me think, because one thing I appreciate about anime, I appreciate it and I also complain about it, being a grump, is the kindest way to say it is anime often has a lot of what I call lateral storytelling, right? We're very used to sort of a 3-act structure. here in Western storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And anime will often have, sometimes to its detriment and sometimes in a really mind expanding way, things happen because we've said so,
Mm-hmm.
and not to say that this was the structure of it, but the first show that I saw that was like, I was too young to understand why, but when for some reason the Sci-Fi Channel was playing Galaxy Express 999 when I was young,
Okay.
and and I just wasn't used to, this is the story of a boy who's like, I want to replace my body with a robot so I can be immortal, right? Which
Just
was just
average.
like a little different
Yeah.
from, what I was used to at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I think that might have been the first one, between like Gundam and knowing that Dragon Ball was on and knowing that Pokemon was on. And then having this one that was not really one that like kids in school were wearing t-shirts for Galaxy Express or anything like that. I think that one made me realize
missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still wear one.
Mm-hmm.
I think for some reason that one made me say, oh, this is anime, because it was so much different from anything that I had ever seen.
Okay. Damn. So what are some of your favorite anime in general?
Oh, I'm going to give you I feel like I'm going to be the most basic interview that you've ever got. My go-to is probably, if I have to pick a favorite anime of all time, it's somewhere between Paranoia Agent and Berserk 97.
Okay.
Anything Satoshi Kon, Perfect Blue. I actually have purposefully not watched a few Satoshi Kon movies just because I know there's a limited supply of them, and they're too special to me. So there are a few that I save. In recent years, I've really been hit by things like Heavenly Delusion and Dead Demon's Destruction.
Yeah.
But yeah, my big ones would probably be Paranoia Agent and Berserk in terms of all-timers.
Yeah. Whenever I do recommend Berserk, I have to be like, okay, there's a content warning for so much, but it's worth it.
It is. Yeah. I think certainly, no spoilers, but to me, it's perhaps a perfect series, except maybe that last episode's kind of problematic. And it's like you can justify it thematically, but there is a part of me that's like, I kind of wish that hadn't exactly happened that way.
Yeah.
Which, oftentimes, if I'm really recommending an anime to somebody hardcore, so much anime comes with a caveat, but certain anime, Paranoia Agent, for example, I would say like that's an anime with no caveats. I can just recommend that full-chestedly. Similar to Berserk, I don't know what this says about me. It's going to ruin your day, maybe your life, but no caveats other than, maybe you should be over 18 before you watch it.
Most definitely. One of my favorite, because the first time I watched through Berserk 97, I was like, this is like, I get the hype of it, blah, blah, blah. And then there was one scene where Guts is outside of a tent and he just goes, ugh, woman troubles at Casca. And I was like, this guy's a dick. This guy's
it's it's not the most manga or anime, not the most optimistic. There are glimpses of faith in humanity, but I think so much of that series is about, in literal ways, the pieces of ourselves that we sell off.
100%.
It is not quite as prominent in the anime. It's still there, but I mean, we're talking about a fantasy story where at least two of the main cast are sex workers. Or have been in some way, which is it's not a happy time. It's not a happy fantasy. But,
no.
I think it's still a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, and like even in recent years with like shows like Clavitas, kind of fill that void of dark fantasy that we've been missing.
Yeah, we've been on a little bit of a renaissance with that, I think, in a really good way.
100%. I remember watching the first 5 episodes because I had someone on who was in it, and I was watching through. I was like, this is so good, and it's making me so uncomfortable. Yes. And it's been so long. It's been it's just it's so good. So what's an anime when you recommend it to people besides Berserk that makes you go, I swear it's good?
Um, I'm going to be biased and do one that was my first anime as a consistent character, because it's one that it's a hill that I'm going to die on. Okay? and I will say, like, I feel like I'm decently objective. Like, I know everybody's shows are their babies, and there are shows that I've done where I'm like, totally get why this is divisive, 100%. I can still love it. But I understand, and I'm pretty open about telling about their complaints with this or that. So this was a divisive show, but
yes,
that's my caveat show.
Okay,
where like Buchigiri is very weird, and a lot of people were just like, "Oh, I hate the MC," which was like played perfectly by Alex Mai, who's like the platonic ideal of an anime lead. And I'm like, "Yeah, he's a shit.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be," And it's strange. I mean, it's a show that takes place in, I don't know, it's Indonesia, but it's Japan, but it's also Aladdin. And there's genies, and it's horny, but it's like horny in a way that isn't like creepy leering. It's like a celebratory weird. The show is created and run by a woman. And it's interesting because there are almost no women in the show. To me, I think it's a very queer show, but it doesn't appear that way on the surface. It's a show about how boys are not allowed to process trauma, which, hint, that's why the MC that you don't like is a shit, because of his unprocessed trauma that so many people hold on to in that show. And it's a show about idolatry. Like, every single character in that show idolizes another character in that show in a sort of hierarchy. So I think like that thematic meat is really there. In addition to it just looking sick as hell, having an incredible soundtrack, having fantastic art direction, like some of the best fight choreography, and being genuinely funny. So that's a show where, like, the caveats are there. It's weird to be like, let me tell you about the show about horny genies. But also, let me tell you about the show about horny genies.
Yeah,
it's good.
Exactly. Oh my God. Well, it's funny because like whenever I ask this question, it's either like something like really deep and like, something like that, or like it's like, I swear it's like not weird. And like mine is like Uzuki-chan wants to hang out. Like, you just got to get past the jiggle physics. I swear it's the cutest show imaginable. Like,
that's the most common caveat for anime, I would say. And a lot of Japanese video games are like, look. I don't know why they look like this, but it's just, we'll get past that. Which I find I'm noticing is at least either happening with more self-awareness or happening a little less nowadays, which is nice to see.
100%. Oh my God. So moving into roles that you voice in, you voice Mysterious Man in Chainsaw Man. So when I saw it in theaters, I didn't know you voiced it. I didn't know anything. That role creeped me the hell out. How did you kind of dive into that and get like just so gross?
Wow. Do you treat all your guests this way? How are you so disgusting?
How?
No, I would say, these things kind of, they come in waves, as I'm sure a lot of actors have talked to you about. I have, I come from a film background and did tend to play a lot of like heavies and bad guys and stuff. And I was just noticing this the other day, last year, between like, what was there? There was Chainsaw Man. There was Worthless Appraiser. There was Sentenced to be a Hero. I was just playing psychopaths, and now I'm just doing romantasy. There was no transition. It was like, well, I guess this is what I do now. And then it was like, no, now you're a lover. Okay. So for that particular role, we're lucky. We're not always lucky enough in anime, as I'm sure you know. Like, some of this production is so quick. I was lucky to know who I was and to have source material. The Chainsaw Man manga is there. I was able to look at it. I was able to have, Caitlin Glass directed me in that. And Caitlin knows that I come from a film background. And numerous times she has deployed me where I come into the studio and she'll say, "Hey, you're just in a movie. You're just on the set. Just be on set. I don't want you to do any. We're not making anime here. Like, just act as though you've walked onto a film set." Because sometimes that is what the material calls for, which I think that, if not all of Chainsaw Man Reze, certainly that sequence, because it's a movie that is, it's a movie that loves film. And in that sequence, the movie kind of stops and says, now we're a David Fincher movie for 20 minutes, and to kind of come around to your question about how do you get there, because it is deeply weird. He's a deeply, deeply, deeply disturbing character. And there was moments in the booth, like, this is how you start to know it's working, where, Caitlin and our engineer would just be like, oh, dude, but again, going back to direction, I'm very lucky that we had worked together before, because I think to get to those places that are deeply uncomfortable, there's a sort of vulnerability there, because it is you're making yourself vulnerable to, for lack of a better term, look like a complete creep in front of people who thankfully know you. But if you have a director who makes you feel comfortable to, in the same way that a good director will make you feel comfortable swinging and missing, our jobs are oftentimes, we cannot have much, I don't want to say pride, but what's the word? I'm looking for a synonym for embarrassment. That's kind of a thing that we're just not allowed to have, right? And that swings both ways. It swings for, when you're called on to be an absolute Looney Tune and make a fool out of yourself, or when you're called on to be somebody who is deeply disturbing in a way that is, again, intentionally in that movie, because I think that movie's a masterpiece, whether I got to be in it or not. It's very intentional in that moment where it's like, oh, this feels like something else now. This feels like this killer is modeled on killers that we know.
100%. So what was your reaction to getting cast in the movie?
I mean, I was, I like working, so it was neat. I was, honestly, the honest story of that is, we got phone calls, which was different. Normally, you could like email, like, come on in tomorrow. And I knew, having watched the first season of Chainsaw Man, I knew that it was a big deal, and I knew, spoilers for the Chainsaw Man movie. I was told on the phone, like, you're not going to be in. After this, which is quite a spoiler, because he's kind of the big red herring of the movie. But hopefully everybody has seen Reze Arc by now, because it is, in my opinion, one of the, again, myself aside, one of the finest anime feature films that I have seen. But to be completely honest, the reaction was great. I'm excited. Can't wait to do it. Went in, did it, blacked out, had no recollection of what I had done. And then the hype for the movie started building. And I was just like, oh my God, I hope I didn't fuck this up. That was my experience of getting cast. And it was almost like, as more and more hype for this film started building, it was almost like, I was holding my breath until the premiere. And then I was able to say, okay, it's fine. And there were a few people in the hallways of Crunchyroll who in the ensuing months who were also in the film, that would come up to me. Like, I remember Alexis coming up to me, Alexis Tipton, who plays Reze, in an elevator, being like, dude, what is wrong with you? Essentially. So that made me think, okay, maybe you didn't, because I love that cast. I think Ryan's Denji, I love. We don't always get to do an anime, but in that movie, that's we got to do. People use naturalism lightly, but we got to do cinematic naturalism, and I think Ryan's so wonderful at that. And I find myself working with Alexis and Derek pretty often. They're amazing talent. They're wonderful people. So to get to be alongside them and hold up my little part of the movie was just such an incredible honor.
Yeah. Oh my God. So speaking of psychopaths, you play Rhyno in Sentenced
What do you
to Be a
mean?
Hero.
What do you mean?
How did you approach his character? Because my God.
Yeah. Man, that was another example of being really lucky because, again, coming from film, I'm so used to taking forever.
Yeah.
A movie is like, oh, we're going to shoot this movie 2 months from now. Here's the script. You're going to be on set for another 2 months. It'll come out 2 years from now. Who knows?
Yeah.
We sit around 12 hours a day and, shooting for 30 minutes. And there's just so much preparation. And oftentimes anime is not that. At least, when you're working in English localization, there's so much of it. And so a few companies doing it, oftentimes it is, come in tomorrow. Who are you? Find out. But we had a very lucky case here where we had done a trailer for the show. And, Rhino's the last member of the party to join. So because I was in the trailer, knowing that I would be Rhyno. And by the way, at this point in the series, I was just a fan. Like I say, I'm bad at watching anime, but that was the show I decided to watch that season, and I was just like, "Oh, this is my story.
So
this is my story right here." And it was legitimately, I was like, "This to me, this is one of the best animes I've seen in like a good couple of years." Like a dark fantasy, I was super into it, and I remember walking in with Sean Gann, the director, doing the trailer because I was just like such a fan of this show already. I was like, so am I really Rhyno? Is this just for the trailer? is it like the guy who's Rhyno is not available, and so you're just you need somebody for today? Like, is this really happening? But because of that, I was able to have the lead time to read the books, to have that source material, and that informed everything I did to such an incredible degree because we don't often get that privilege. I love to research when we can, but there were so many moments in the booth where, because season 1 goes through, I think, up through volume 4 of the novels, which were all out. So I was able to get through them, and things would happen in the show. Like, the novels are from Xylo's perspective. And things would happen where it's like, I know what Xylo was thinking at that moment. Like, there were particular lines. There was one particular line in the book that stood out to me where Xylo's internal is something like, and that is the only thing Rhyno ever said that I believed. So that gave me everything. They talked about how nothing he said sounds believable whatsoever. They talked about how he never stopped smiling. I remember things in the book where Xylo's like, and I knew he was smiling underneath that mask. I could just, but that was, man, it was such a pleasure to play because I say this affectionately, he's so weird.
Yeah.
He's not like any other character, right?
No.
It's certainly not like any other character that I've played. Like you see him in the trailer and the art. You're like, oh yeah, anime cool guy, right?
Yeah.
Big gun, cool armor. But the beauty of Sentenced to Be a Hero is that it's a party of lovable freaks.
Yeah.
That's why I love the show. I remember around episode 4, I was like, I like these freaks,
Yeah.
And that was my bar for success. I was like, Rhyno might be the freakiest of the freaks.
Which is a pretty high bar.
Yeah, for a party of freaks, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, but when I was reading, I was like, but I like him. And if I can get there, and I remember during the first session, Jameson Outlaw, our engineer, who's also a big fan of the show. That's if there's any reason the show is good, it's because everybody working on the show is a fan of this show.
Yeah.
We love this show. We were in the middle of the first episode, and I remember Jameson just stopping, and he just said, I kind of like this guy. And I was like, all right, we're on to something. We're doing it. And that kind of gave me permission to, and also Sean Gann is again, going back to that comfort that directors can give you. Sean is so open to getting weird in the best possible way.
Yeah.
There were things that I remember after firing the gun for the first time, there's a sound that was a little orgasmic. And I was like, Sean, is that too much? And he was like, no, it's not too much. And I remember like weeks thinking like, oh, are the anime fans on the internet going to drag my but it turned out to, I don't, they seem to have liked it. And Sean gave us permission to do that. And again, the script is so good. That helps a lot. Audrey Drake Rigg is doing the dub adaptation. She's incredible. She's working things in there from the book that I so hoped would be in there. Some things in the dub from the book that are not, translated in the sub, for instance. Having that, I can talk about sentence all day, but having that material, it's hard to mess it up.
Yeah. Even coming at like as a viewer, like when he does eventually show up, because he's talked about throughout the series, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, here we go. And then his first episode, I'm like, oh, he's a psychopath, but I love him. God damn it.
I'm so glad. And he's on our side.
Yeah. Thank God.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I hope, I was going to say, I'm so glad you identified the psychopath. Like, it's not hard to identify, but that's what's so interesting. I hope that in season 2, which has been confirmed, I hope that Rhyno and Sav get to spend more time together, because I think it's so interesting that, because I would say in a lot of his the way that he interacts with humans, Rhyno's so much more of a sociopath.
Yeah.
Where Sav is the psychopath.
Yes.
100%. Right. And so it's so interesting to me that, Rocket, the author, was like, he chose that. He was like, look, just a psychopath is not enough. We need a psychopath and a sociopath in the party together. Right? And I was like, you must have done that for a reason, because he's an incredibly intelligent and astute writer. And I'm curious if there is a reason for that, because I would just love to see the two of them, kind of explore what is the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath. I'd love to see them having some tea or something at some point.
That would be such a treat.
Mostly just because it would piss Silo off so badly.
Oh my God. And I just, like you said, the whole like band of miscreants and like weirdos is just it was so refreshing in a way to see, all these awful people.
Some of them. Yeah.
Most of them band together and like just, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. I adore that show with all my heart. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for season 2 already. I don't know when it's coming, but
no idea.
I'm here. And I will say too, I have seen more depraved fan art of Rhyno than I am doing a boys love show right now, and there is so much more deeply horny fan for Rhyno than for the actual like yaoi that I'm doing.
Let's go! Oh my God!
So I think people are ready as well. Some people are ready. Some people are very ready for season 2.
Totally. And like even the animation is so good.
Gosh, exactly. The animation quality. I remember. Just kind of apropos nothing. A lot of my friends are big comic book fans, and they're always, for years, they kept trying to get me to watch these damned straight to DVD DC Comics animated films, because I grew up being a big fan of DC Comics, and my complaint all the time was like, why does this animation look not so? I don't want to shit on animators, but I was like, why does the Killing Joke look nothing like the Killing Joke? Like these things have, they have an art direction that this isn't capturing, and all the time, they're like, budget and this and that and that. And I was so petty about it that when Sentence came out, I was like, look at this. This is a weekly show. You're telling me they can't do this? You're telling me they can't do this for these feature films? What's going on here? But that studio does have some Uma Musume money. So
it's true.
My theory, I don't know. I don't have an insider track there, but I wonder if they're making some horse girl money, and this certainly feels like a passion project,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Dan. That animation is
Yeah.
so nice to
Literally
look
from episode 1, I'm like, holy shit.
at. Yeah, and that really helps the performance too.
Yeah.
Because you see things which we don't often get. So much.
Yeah.
I mean, so many shows I've done are beautiful in very many ways. They look incredible. They have great fight choreography, or great character design, or great backgrounds, or whatever. But you sort of don't notice it as you're watching because it feels so natural.
Yeah.
But when you're in the booth, and it's my belief, like, we often do. Now, Sentence came out simultaneously in various languages. If the Japanese language precedes us, we'll often look at it as a reference. But I'm very much of the belief that this is an opportunity for another actor to interpret the character.
Yeah.
And as you're doing that, because the animation is so good, you're seeing these subtle expressions that the characters are making that you simply do not often get in anime because there's not the budget for that.
Yeah.
But there were so many moments of facial animation or incredibly subtle animation of the hands that we would catch, and that would inform a take. So the animation itself, I think it even makes the performances better because we simply have more to work with and more to more to we're taking cues from that animation. It's like, wait a minute, the way he moved, like the way he kind of like half closed his eyes and looked away there, that's something.
Yeah. Oh my god. So you also voice Augur Wilson in Lord of Mysteries.
Yeah.
How was it getting to do accent work for the show?
I'm so glad we did. I'm really glad we did.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to see that. Not that we were the first. I mean, there was, Black Butler prior to that and various shows throughout the years. But now we're seeing it again with Witch Hat, and that's being super well received. It just made sense. And now I had been doing the official Lord of Mysteries audio drama for, we just wrapped that after 2 years, and I think 1,238 episodes, I think is what it was.
Crazy.
Which, funny enough, Jonathan Rigg, the director of the English version of Lord of Mysteries, did not know. Right?
What?
Yeah,
that's insane.
I think I'm safe to tell this story.
Yeah.
We had first worked together on The Beginning After the End, and my character Caspian Bladeheart, who's a little more prominent this season, he shows up in the very last episode of the first season to set up season 2. And Rigg and I immediately had a really great rapport. We're just kind of chatting, and he was talking about, this show, he's introducing me to the show and saying, this is based on a web novel, and there's been a little bit of controversy with the adaptation and this and that. And I was like, oh yeah, I spent a lot of my time working on a web novel adaptation. I narrate this thing called Lord of Mysteries, right? And he's like, we do the thing that come to find out that he had just essentially gotten the gig to direct Lord of Mysteries days prior to that, right? So from doing the audio drama, I had to do dialects because this audio drama was just me. It was a single narrator show, so it was sort of like, I'm running out of voices, man. And it also feels natural, and I think it is. That is a show where I very much, because of the dialects, and there are other reasons as well, where I will wholeheartedly say, if Mandarin is not your native language, you should watch a show in English. And I think the Mandarin cast is also lovely, but if English is your native language, you are getting so much, not only tone and kind of spice from those dialects, making you feel the show is clearly inspired by Victorian England, and not only that, but the other kingdoms in the show are loosely inspired by other places. Like we got a little glimpse of the City of Silver at the end of season 1. That's a very sort of Germanic realm. We hear Bradley Garrett's Emperor Roselle, right? Who where he is from is inspired by France, so he speaks in the French dialect. So you're not only getting that sort of that texture and that spice, but when you hear the variety of dialects, you're also getting instant character information.
Yeah.
Because, when you hear, like, right, Klein's family, they speak like this, right? And we know they might not have a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. But then when you hear Audrey and she speaks like this, then you know, oh, she's rich, right?
Yeah.
And again, like, just location-based, you hear those dialects, you have an idea, like, oh, they might be from this region. A pirate sounds like a pirate, hopefully, if I'm doing my job. And we were also able to... Mandarin is also an incredibly dense and fast language, and that particularly the first season is also very fast-paced. So our writing team was also able to kind of get a little more information and a little more exposition to help people along in the show. That was a very long way to say I love doing dialect. I love it a lot. It's one of my favorite things, and not something I thought I'd get to do in anime. Mm-hmm. It's not something that again, I'm glad it's becoming more common.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I really expected to deploy very much in anime. And if Tencent is to be believed, I will be deploying it for the next 100 years.
It's true. Yeah. When they announced like the next 7 years of Lord of Mysteries, as like someone who had just heard of it, I was like, huh? Excuse me?
That was one thing that doing the audio drama did kind of prepare me for, where it was like knowing that was coming. Like I said, I feel like I do not. I feel like I'm not as deeply entrenched in the anime media space as so many of my peers. But that was one show where I was like, I think this is going to be a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And everybody was sort of catching up to that. Because it's certainly, culturally in China, Lord of Mysteries is deeply important. It's a deeply important piece of contemporary pop culture, and I very much think that they have committed to this in a way that I've not seen, even in live action TV and anime. I don't think I have ever seen somebody saying, "Hey, we're not announcing the next season. We're announcing the next 7 seasons." For 10 years.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, "What? Okay. Good for all involved. We love employment."
I hope so. Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Exactly.
But that again, I've been lucky to be able to come to shows with material in hand. So that's was it felt spiritually correct to be playing Alger, who especially in season 1 is very much like, let me tell you about this world, right? I was like, I know about this world. And he's one of my favorite characters in the books. And it was a gift to be able to walk into it already with this great love for the series, it's hard to make predictions about anything in the big 26. But I know we would certainly feel very lucky if we get to keep doing it for as long as we're planning to.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, you voice this season as of recording. You voice Aresh in Bean Counter. What was your reaction to getting cast in not just a BL but an isekai BL?
Yeah. That was an interesting one because I had not. That was a show that I hadn't heard of. Like, I wasn't familiar with. I remember the very specific process of getting the casting email. First, I was like, "Oh yeah, Lee George, that's my boy." Like, I wouldn't be here without him. And he's one of my just absolute favorite people to work with. Like, we just, he's. I think he's one of the best anime directors working. And again, cast me in Puchigiri, and I would not be here without it. This is our 5th season of anime together, I think.
Wow.
But so first I was like, "Oh, cool, Alicia, wonderful, I'm in." And I was like, "Oh, cool, he's one of the leads. That's great." And then I started looking. I was like, "Oh, these boys are having a good time." And there was I never had any doubt. Like, I was immediately comfortable with it. I think it's lovely that it seems like BL from heated rivalry to Nakamura-kun is having a moment right now, and I'm so proud to be a part of that moment and to be in a show that is, we talk about like, oh, Buchigiri, that's a queer show. No, this is such just a, not explicit in the deeply sexual way, but just such a unashamedly gay show.
Yeah.
Which makes me deeply proud. It's also the isekai element is interesting because it's the isekai element almost doesn't play into the sort of core of it as much as you would think. Pacing wise, they're kind of like, well, your boy's isekai and he's here. Now he's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
Because he has some work-life balance issues. But what
just a little bit,
just a few,
yeah.
Aresh has no issues.
No,
by the way, clearly, none at all. Certainly not any kind of parental issues or anything like that.
No.
But he's adjusted. He's very adjusted and very secure. But what one of the biggest appeals of that show to me, and what makes it such an actual comfort in my life, like that show has been a comfort in my life every week that we get to do it, is that whether you're dealing with queer romance or heteronormative romance or anything in between, romance is so often will they, won't they?
Yeah.
What's the conflict? What's the problem? What's the buildup? What are we working through, right? This show and this story just says, no, I have chosen you.
Yep.
I'm going to care about your ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of you. That's what I'm doing. And of course, there's conflict. And there's turmoil. A lot of which is external in the show. We're dealing with a miasma, and Say for whatever reason has decided like, well, I just need to fix this place, and taking that upon himself. A lot of the conflict is coming from, but which is crazy. Can you imagine getting isekai and somebody's like, hey, I have to work again? Yeah. And you get a hot boyfriend who's like, I'm going to buy you a house. And you're like, well, I want to keep being an accountant, please. Get out of here. But yeah, that is so comforting. And as the show goes on, it's also so comforting just to see that even like we've been here for a while in film and TV, but maybe a little less so in Japanese media. Nobody cares that they're gay.
No.
Even in this fantasy world, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, these two love each other anyway. What's going on? We're for lunch.
Literally.
And that makes it such a comforting thing to do. Like that is a show that I we were talking earlier about anime without caveats, and I have a very supportive mom who I always say has seen more of my stuff than I have, but I've only been doing anime for about 2.5 years, and so this is kind of new to her, and she's not an anime fan. She's a 62-year-old lady in Kentucky, but she went to the theater by herself to see Reze.
Oh, I love
and
that.
And had her mind blown. But this show, that sense of comfort is so universal and appealing to people that this is the first show that my mom was like, I want to watch this. Like all the way through. She's seen all the clips and she's always like, let me see all the stuff. But like, it's just as goofy as a concept as it is. And, it's a very silly show. It's just got such a genuine sense of real warmth to it. And it's funny.
It's so funny.
It's like the visual humor works,
Like
and,
one of my favorite visual gags, I guess, in the show was when they were on their way to the miasma, and he's like, "You're getting on my horse," and and literally they're just like,
two guys sitting in a hot tub. Anyway,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and again, one of the reasons I love Lee's work as an English director so much is that and I'm not just saying this because it's paying my rent. He watched Gachiakura, and you'll see that like Lee George can cast a show, and so watching the show and having, again, material for the show. Like there's books, there's manga. The Japanese was available in its entirety almost by the time we started. I was able to be like, I wonder who's going to voice these guys. I remember watching that. Who's going to be East? And it was like, it's Tristan Bonner. And oh my gosh, it's incredible. Who's going to be I forget the character's name, but our little green-haired church boy who Ukulele is voicing cracks me up every episode. It's a really fun rom-com cast, and I always joke that I just have the easiest job because no pun intended, being the straight man in the show. It's I just kind of get to be that rock, that stoic rock that everybody else gets to be a little crazy around. But it's really fun. The moments when you get to break that rock are really fun too.
Yeah, he does have his moments though, of like just the aggressive
yes,
and then it's the sweetest thing that comes out of his mouth. It's like
I love those moments. We recently had there is that range, and it's always a fine line with a stoic character, because you start to get in your head as an actor, and you're like, am I doing enough? You feel that pressure to be like, is it just boring? And then the director's like, no, he's stoic, keep it stoic. But the show has character growth, so you get moments of a full anime rage, but of course you also get moments of tearing that wall down into a real human vulnerability, which I love to do when we have the opportunity to do that in anime, which is not all the time. But those moments when it's just the two of them, and they're inches apart, and we can just take away any artifice from our voices, where there's recently a series of love letters that Aresh is writing. I'm just like, man, what a gift to get to just narrate a love letter to my man. It's really nice. I'll miss that show quite a bit. We're winding it down, but I'm really proud of it. And also, shout out to the Boys Love community for being one of the funniest and most supportive fan groups I've ever seen. They're so cool. They make me so much stuff on my timeline every day. Makes me laugh in a really good way.
Yeah, so good. So how did you get into acting in general?
I've probably told this story on podcasts before, but I was a poor kid in the South, and it's the first thing I remember wanting to do, and it was watching the Michael Keaton Batman movie on VHS. And I had a great mom who was very clear about what the difference between fiction and reality was. And I was also poor, so I was like, well, I can't be Batman. Too rich. Can't do it, right? But I remember watching a particular scene in that beat-up old VHS that we had, and it was a scene between Nicholson and Keaton, and thinking, these are good actors, because my mom had taught me what actors were, and my little whatever it was, 4-year-old brain was just like, okay, so I can't be Batman. Maybe I could play him, which I was shooting big at the time, you know what I mean? But that made me that put the idea in my head. I was noticing those actors, and it was not something. Growing up poor in rural Kentucky, my high school did not have a theater program. We had a basketball program. That's it. We had a gymatorium, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't until that thought of wanting to do that never left, but the opportunity was not there in Paducah, Kentucky. And it wasn't until going to college, which again, first member of my family to go to college, only because one day the government called us and like, hey, we'll pay for it. And we're like, oh, all right.
Wow.
I guess we're going then. Didn't even know you could study theater. Just didn't occur to me. I started studying English, and then I saw posters for auditions. And I was like, oh, that's what I've always wanted to do. I'm going to do that. And started to get the roles, and then the theater kids got mad at me. very dramatic, these actors,
Yeah,
man.
of
There's
course.
a lot
Yeah.
of drama and cattiness. It's crazy.
Ugh.
That's why I don't like them. I don't
Yeah,
hang out with the
exactly.
actors.
Yeah.
But finally, it got to be enough where like the dean of the theater department pulled me aside, and he was just like, you can study this, right? And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. So yeah, I started studying theater, and then it's ruined my life ever since. Here I am. No, I couldn't do anything else. I'm not capable of anything else.
Yeah.
Really,
Oh my God. So, what kind of skills did you bring from like the film, TV, theater world and brought them into the booth?
I am. This is not an original thought, but voice acting is just acting, and this is something I figure that a lot of folks who want to be voice actors probably watch your interviews, and we are seeing, when I joke about how I feel self-conscious about not watching enough anime compared to my peers, I think a lot of that is because this is the first generation of actors that I have seen that their version of having a shitty old Batman VHS is that they grew up wanting to do anime, right?
Yeah.
That is their dream. Like, I want to be an anime voice actor. And they're pursuing that, and many of them are finding a success. But the thing that I always try to implore in anybody that is silly enough to ask me for advice is that you need the fundamentals of acting. You need acting 101. You need Stanislavski. You need technique. You need method. All of that applies to anime, and of course, there are technicalities. Like, we're dealing with matching lip flaps. We're dealing with seeing words for the first time that are coming out of our mouths. We're dealing with not having the other actor there, which is a huge thing. And I think specifically Americans, we love to be really serious about like, oh, the method or this and that, and we don't recognize that there is also a stylization to acting, right?
Yeah.
Like, certain shows call for a certain style. My performance in One Piece is going to be different than my character in Reze Arc, right?
Yeah.
And even that, what people call naturalism in film, it's not really naturalism. How many times have you heard somebody in film say, "This ends now"? And if somebody came up to you, if you were in a bar fight and somebody came up and they said just like, "This ends now," you'd be like, what's your problem, dude? Right? Like, nobody talks like that, right?
No.
But where I'm going with all this is that despite all of that, despite, dealing with matching lip flaps and dealing with, having an imaginary scene partner and dealing with what is the sort of stylistic approach, all that working in theater and film did for me was teach me the fundamentals of acting, which you then bring into the booth for anime, and it's as simple as that. It's the same thing. I mean, especially nowadays, sometimes if we look at Isekai Office Worker, it's very much two people. Sometimes Eduardo, who plays Sei, has come in before me. Sometimes they haven't. So some days I'm lucky and I have a partner that I can respond to. Some days Eduardo's lucky, his partner he can respond to. Some days we don't. But just like with film, you'll have a single shot. You're talking to somebody just off camera. They might be at lunch, or hopefully not. Maybe they're not giving you what you need, So you learn, for instance, to create your own interior world, to imagine something else that you're reacting to imagine the person that you're talking to envision what their eyes look like when you're talking to them. You learn that on set when you don't have that person there. You bring it into an anime booth when you don't have that person there,
Yeah.
And I also lucked out because I do think that English language anime is trending a little more toward cinema style acting nowadays. So it was a good time to get started in that, having come from film.
Yeah, 100%. So, what's been a moment in your career so far, whether it be film, theater, voice acting, that made you go, "Oh, this is exactly what I want to do"?
All of it. It's, it's
Yeah.
hard, especially
Yeah.
2026 things are tough for everybody. And it's, Adam, it hasn't been great by having the tech bros in charge of all things creative. It's not working out so well for us, so it makes things shaky and scary, like it's a weird place to be, to have more work than I've ever had in my life and worry more about stability than I've ever worried in my life. Right. And just because of where we're at, but, I mean, every day, and I'm sure you hear this from so many actors, but it's the truth. I mean, I said I was going to do this when I was 4, and here I am. And again, growing up as a dork, and I say that affectionately, but not just watching anime, but watching film media for my whole life has been my life. I've always been deeply into movies. I've always been deeply into video games. That has been the thing that I've dedicated the most mind space of anything in my life to media. And just sort of, not to be an inauthentic self-promoter, but going on some of the stuff that we've talked about just in this conversation, like getting to watch things like Sentenced to be a Hero or Reze, where I can remove myself and say, because I have a small role in one and a character that didn't come in for a while in the other, where I can honestly look at myself and say, like, man, these are things that as an audience member, they're hidden with me. And then to look at myself from outside and get to say, like, oh, I get to just be there. You talked about Rhyno's reveal scene in the season finale, and that whole damn episode. But walking into the studio, it was unspoken. I remember I walked in, and Sean was kind of making a face similar to what you just made. It was just like he had seen the episode, and it was just this feeling of, like, again, the animation, the staging, the music, the performances, and we were just looking at it being like, we get to do this, like we get to be here and be a part of this. That's just something that I will never. You have to be a little obsessed, and you have to be. I think you have to be happy doing this. You have to be just as happy doing this at a community theater in the middle of nowhere as you would be doing the #1 movie in the country.
100%.
And it's not gotten old for me yet.
Oh my God. So what's been like the hardest lesson you've learned since becoming or getting into anime voice acting?
Oh, I don't want to incriminate myself, because if anyone watches this, it's just like, oh man, maybe we shouldn't cast him. A thing that was tough for me was, and it's something I think about a lot, because, coming to the medium after having worked as an actor for a while, it being a new medium for me. And especially, when I moved from LA to Dallas, and I didn't move here for anime. I moved here for, to see if I could make my living in a smaller place. And Dallas has this wonderful mixture of film, TV, the ability to do so much voiceover remotely in a place that costs far less and is easier to live in, all those sort of things. But having various anime studios here is a big part of a working actor's kind of, diet here. So that sort of made the pressure like, oh, you better find your way into this, turned it up a little bit. And so I spent all this time, especially initially, trying to figure out, what does an anime actor sound like? What is that? What is that style? And sure, like we said, style is a thing. And I think that there is often what I would call an economy of emotion, where you have a very small amount of time to really establish an emotional cadence that anime actors are very good at. But long story short, I spent a lot of time trying to. I made the mistake of thinking externally, like, well, what do they want? What's going to get me in there? What is an anime actor sound like? And just tied myself into a knot trying to do these auditions, thinking about what people want to hear from me and what that sound is.
Mm-hmm.
When, if you were smarter than me, everybody hearing this story is like, well, that's the wrong thing to do, Daniel. When the answer is, of course, do your anime auditions the way I'm talking to you, to a certain extent, just be as truthful as you can, put as much of yourself in there as you can. And again, stylization comes into play, characterization comes into play. But I had just lost sight of the fundamentals, So that was a lesson, that sort of pressure to work, and that pressure you put on yourself to enter a new medium, ended up just having the simplest answer imaginable, which is, just act truthfully as you learned years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And for waiting on me.
Yeah, of course.
I know I was a little behind the scenes, but our scheduling took for so long.
And we have 32 emails back.
Do we?
Oh, sorry, 44.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Before the show, I was like, Adam, you've had people that are so much more famous and prolific than my little nobody ass. And I was like, and I bet they didn't have to schedule this much.
Oh, my God. No, it's no problem at all. Yeah. Where can the lovely people find you?
I think I'm the only Daniel Van Thomas. So, look that up and I'll be around. DanielVanThomas.com. I don't want to say which social media platforms because who cares. But I'm on there. And I believe I'm the only Daniel Van Thomas out there. And I don't have an ironic at handle or anything. It's just Daniel Van Thomas on everything. Yeah.
No, that's the way to be. The amount of times where it's like, what's your Instagram? And I'm like, it's Corky Cosplays. And it's like,
your name's in there at least.
My name's in there. Yeah. Thank you again so much for coming on.
It's been such a pleasure.
Yeah, you guys watching can follow me at Corky Cosplays on Instagram. Adam Corky everywhere else. Subscribe to the Patreon. You get episodes a day early, exclusive videos, behind the scenes content, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.